The Mass Effect trilogy is among the most beloved RPG franchises out there. What differentiates it from its competition in the genre are its complex characters and the meaningful choices the player has to make. One of those hard choices you will come across during the first Mass Effect game is the decision on whether you're gonna save the Galactic Council during the siege of the Citadel. The first two out of three possibilities are pretty straightforward. You can either tell the Alliance fleet to save the Council, resulting in heavy Alliance casualties, while saving the Destiny Ascension, the Citadel flagship with the Council on board. As a second option, you can tell the fleet to not risk the lives of human Alliance soldiers in order to save the Council, and just let the Council die. I often see the claim of Shepard being an anti-alien xenophobe being made when the choice to not save the Council is discussed. And to be fair, in case of not saving the Council, the game pushes the player in that direction to some degree. However, there's a third option. The player can tell the fleet command to concentrate on Sovereign, the giant Reaper ship attacking the Citadel. This also results in the destruction of the Destiny Ascension and the death of the Council. But the moral undertone is entirely different. Instead of putting the focus on not saving the Council, Shepard puts the focus on stopping Sovereign. Unfortunately, in the discourse concerning the subject matter, this difference is often ignored.
Concentrate on Sovereign. For all intents and purposes, this is the same as letting the Council die on every level, with the consequences being nigh on identical, except you'll gain less Renegade points for making this choice, because, well, it was the Alliance's choice to ignore them this time, right? Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It makes me feel better about it. Thanks for your concern. However, it's not because I'm delegating the decision to the Alliance. I actually have no idea how one could come to that conclusion. Shepard is completely aware of the consequences of his orders, but realizes the destruction of Sovereign has to be the priority, even if it means the end of the Destiny Ascension. So let me explain why I believe the first two options are wrong, while the third option is the way to go. In general, saving innocent people is obviously the moral right thing to do. The saving the Council decision falls right into this category. But I believe the world of Mass Effect is just as imperfect as the world we are living in, which means that sometimes you simply can't save everyone. I mean, you can save the Council by sentencing half the Alliance fleet to death, which to me makes the option already quite difficult. But we have to keep in mind the fate of the entire galaxy is at stake. If Sovereign was to gain control over the Citadel, the next Reaper invasion would be imminent, and that's not a risk I'm willing to take. And quite frankly, I don't think that's a risk anyone should be willing to take. But if the player decides to save the Council, Shepard, as an in-world character, can't know for certain whether the Alliance will actually be able to save the Destiny Ascension. But let's assume the Alliance manages to save them. Will the Destiny Ascension even be helpful in the fight against Sovereign? At the time they are calling for help, their shields are at 40%. They might consider it their priority to get the Council to safety first, and in that case, everything could be lost. And even if they would turn out to be helpful, there's more to warfare than just pure numbers of soldiers, spaceships, and who has the biggest gun. If I've learned one thing from playing tons of strategy games, striking at the right moment is just as important. If your enemy doesn't see you coming, you can strike with your whole strength, while their forces are split up. Instead of engaging in battle right away, the Alliance is bundling their strength. They are waiting for the right moment to destroy Sovereign. If they engage with the Geth preemptively, they might just miss the critical moment to strike and destroy Sovereign. With the amount of unknown variables concerning the saving of the Destiny Ascension, its destruction might just be the distraction the Alliance needs, and losing a battle in order to win the war could just be the way to go. I'll admit, that's not the nice and happy ending you might be wishing for. But war isn't pretty, and if anyone told you otherwise, there's one thing you need to say to them right now.
Liar!
The main reason why most players won't hesitate to save them is because they are familiar with video games as a medium. They don't expect to be put in a situation in which they might actually fail a mission or be severely punished because of their decision. The player knows that, but Shepard wouldn't. I feel like that's a case of Mass Effect 1 not living up to its own expectation of having meaningful and consequential decision making. And we don't have to look further than to the later Mass Effect games to find a great example on how to handle similar dilemmas much better. Granted, you're not gonna fail a mission because of your decision making in those games either, but the consequences can be absolutely dire. And to me, some of those are honestly the most memorable moments, not only in Mass Effect, but in gaming in general. But you can even find very consequential moments in Mass Effect 1. Just think of the standoff with Rex. Your Mass Effect 3 experience will be vastly different, depending on your decision. The same is true for your handling of the Rachni and the choice between Ash and Kaidan. And the same should be true for the Council decision. I believe the discourse could be very different if, for example, one of our crewmates who went from the Alliance to Cerberus in Mass Effect 2 had lost someone important to them in the battle for the Citadel while saving the Council. So if you decide to take that route, some dialogue, maybe even a little side quest would be unlocked in which Shepard is confronted with the loss resulting from his decision. Which in turn wouldn't mean their life was more important than the life of all the people on the Destiny Ascension either. But just like we know some of the people on the Destiny Ascension, we would gain access to a more personal connection to the people in the Alliance fleet, which opens up a nice way of exploring the moral dilemma of the choice. But the sad truth is that not only the personal and emotional consequences, but also the geopolitical consequences are negligible. In theory, the ramifications of your decisions concerning the Council should be the most significant in the game, but unlike all the other decisions, when it comes to actual consequences in the following games, besides a few mentions, they almost feel non-existent. And I wouldn't be surprised if many players never even met the Council in the second game. It's that insignificant.
Hold off, Joker. We're not sacrificing human lives to save the Council. Keep our ships back until they can get a shot at Sovereign.
The second option is wrong for very obvious reasons, namely the disregard of the life of the innocent. While I agree with the outcome, Shepard's reasoning sounds like his priority is to let the Council die and save the Alliance soldiers instead of them, not to defeat Sovereign. Nonetheless, if you have Liara with you, even this option gets contextualized as a sacrifice for the greater good, which also implies that she considers it to be a risk to save the Council. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense to talk about the greater good.
Keep our ships back until they can get a shot at Sovereign.
A sacrifice for the greater good. I only pray it is not made in vain.
With that being said, I'd still choose the second option over the first one, because at the end of the day, the result is what matters the most. Remember, the galaxy is at stake. Life as we know it is at stake. Not just the life of the people on the Destiny Ascension, but all life as we know it. But luckily we are given the concentrate on Sovereign option, which has the same outcome as the let the Council die choice, but the reasoning for doing so is always baked into the decision itself.
What's the order, Commander? Come in now to save the Ascension, or hold back?
Wait until those arms open, Joker. We need all our ships focusing on Sovereign, even if it means sacrificing the Council.
The focus is on destroying Sovereign and thereby saving the galaxy, not on preserving the life of the humans and the strength of the Alliance in favor of the Council and alien life. And my assumption is that this is the safest decision to make. However, there's one huge problem with the third option. Well, not with the choice itself, but how it is handled going forward. In Mass Effect 2, the way the third option gets dealt with is nothing short of disheartening for an RPG which prides itself for its meaningful decision making. It it's just entirely retconned. Leading into the game, you are asked whether you want to recap your decision from the first game in the form of a comic. This offers players an easy and quick way to make all the important decisions of the first game yourself, despite not having played the game. But the player is forced in the binary choice of saving the council or letting them die. Now, this just sucks. Nevertheless, my opinion still stands. Concentrate on Sovereign. Blast his synthetic ass into 1,000 pieces.
Its shields are down. Now's our chance.
Hit it with everything we got.